A relationship with the right referral partner could be a game changer for any B2B company. So what if you could reverse engineer these relationships at a moment's notice? Start a podcast, invite potential referral partners to be guests on your show, and grow your referral network faster than ever. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We're here today with AJ Wilcox. He is the founder of B2 Linked. AJ, how's it going today, man?
Hey, doing so great, Logan. So great to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, we've had this on the books for a little bit. I'm really excited to interview you today and have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, you bet. I've been binging your episodes. As a fan, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. We love to hear that. Well, thanks for that, AJ. Hey, before we jumped into today's topic, AJ, on LinkedIn ads, I'd love for you to give us a little bit of context, share with the audience why you're the guy talking about this today. Tell us a little bit about what you and the team at B2 Linked are up to these days.
Sure. Well, I started the company about 4 years ago, and it was because I was running the world's largest LinkedIn ads account, the most spend worldwide, had great relationships, and there at LinkedIn. And then every time I would do a search on Google for, how do you do this on LinkedIn ads? How do you do that? There just wasn't anyone out there talking about it, sharing, teaching, training, speaking. And so I kind of had this entrepreneurial itch in the back of my mind going, hey, maybe that could be you. So anyway, that's why we started it. And we're a small, nimble agency. There are only 5 of us. And we are LinkedIn partners, which is a pretty cool designation to have as a small agency. And we get to run many of the world's largest LinkedIn ads accounts, as well as many of the smallest.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that story. And it sounds like, obviously it's a point of passion for you, which is what drove you to scratch that entrepreneurial itch that you saw there. So that's awesome. So let's jump right in, AJ. I'd love for you to share with our audience the acronym that you recommend, whether it's LinkedIn ads or any other sort of digital ad platform, this acronym of AMO that you suggest should always be your starting point. So tell us a little about the A, M, and O of the AMO acronym that you recommend in starting any ad campaign.
Sure thing. So when you're going after someone on social media, it's a little bit different than going after them with search. And so this acronym I've found as being really helpful for approaching any sort of social media campaign. The A stands for your audience. This is how you target. Your M is the message. It's how people are actually seeing your ads. And then the O is your offer. As you may very well understand, when you're on social media, you're not looking to do business with a vendor. And so if your offer is simply, hey, click here to talk to our high pressure sales rep, no one's going to click on that ad and you'll just never spend any money. So that offer being something really attractive that people are going to want to gravitate towards, and it's worth their time and energy, then that becomes really important. So if you've got alignment between your audience, your message, and your offer, your social campaign is going to go off without a hitch.
Mm-hmm. Which of those 3 do you most often see people missing the target on, AJ?
So if you're talking about LinkedIn ads specifically, LinkedIn's targeting is so good, it's really hard to get your audience wrong unless you yourself don't understand who your audience is very well. And in some companies, that's pretty easy to be nebulous on. But the offer is by far the most important thing in the majority of cases. When someone comes to us, they a lot of times they'll say, "Hey, we are running ads that just are sending people right to a sales page," and we've got to convince them, look, content marketing is by far the best approach here. You show value first, and then follow up and start a relationship and a conversation after that, and lead them towards creating things like helpful webinars or guides, checklists, ebooks, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, as we were talking offline a little bit, you mentioned a recent client of yours that came on board and they were running ads already, but not seeing the results that they wanted. You guys helped tweak one or a couple of these pieces of, audience, message, and offer. Walk us through that scenario a little bit. You don't have to name names or anything like that, but I think, as we were talking offline, it sounded like a good example that the audience could take a few things away from.
Sure. I think this one is actually pretty telling for how you all might approach your own social campaigns. So this client came to us and they were just a really good fit for LinkedIn ads. I mean, had a high lifetime value, and their customer was definitely on LinkedIn. And so we started doing a lot of testing, and they had something like 4 content offers already ready for us. And so we started doing like rapid iterative testing on imagery, on headlines, on intros. And we found that through this rapid testing, we could sway performance by 5 to 15% either direction by just really doing a lot of testing. But what we found is, 5 to 15% on an expensive lead is still an expensive lead. And none of the offers they had were performing very well. But we had 4 different offers to go off of. So we just figured it was our problem. And we were really worried about this client firing us because we were having cost per lead in like the $130 range, which is not what we want to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then overnight, they came out with a new offer, and it was called the Definitive Guide to Onboarding. And we didn't think anything really of it, but we just kept doing what we were doing and testing. Overnight, our cost per lead dropped down to like $27 from 130 something. We literally 4x that performance, which was nuts. And what we learned from that is, of course, your ad copy and the way that you present that, the M in ammo, the message, is very important, but it doesn't hold a candle to the importance of what that offer is. If you have an offer that is so sexy, you can't help but gravitate towards it, and you want to give your personal information in exchange for the content, that's when you've got a real winner.
I love that. So was the case here the common case that you mentioned earlier where the other offers were a little too salesy, or was it something different that was the tweak into this killer guide that led to better results for them in tweaking their offer?
I think their past content just wasn't very interesting. I think they tried really hard. The visuals were good, but when you really boiled it down, it wasn't on subjects that really were super valuable. But the new offer, they nailed it. And this has been a little while, and that offer is still working better than a lot of the other offers. So that's the power in creating really solid content, is it will actually live for a while.
Yeah. And I think, as you talked about, it's tough to get the audience wrong. There's so much that you can do, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook, to get hyper targeted. But if it's not paired with good creative and a good solid offer, then all of that hyper targeting just kind of goes to waste, right?
Absolutely. It's part of the triangle, and you lose one of the angles on that triangle, and the rest kind of fall apart.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about who should and shouldn't be doing LinkedIn ads. What are some of the criteria that you guys look at as an agency specializing in this area, AJ, of, when do you recommend, hey, this is a good play for you, or maybe this isn't a good play? Walk us through some of the qualification steps that you help customers think about in determining whether LinkedIn ads are going to be a good strategy for them or not.
First and foremost, you have to understand a few interesting nuances about LinkedIn ads. Number one, the targeting is amazing if you're in business to business or targeting professionals, because there just isn't anything else like it on the planet. You can get so laser targeted that it's silly. Yep. But for that targeting, we pay a price, and boy, do we. The average cost per click on LinkedIn is usually between about $6 and $9, whereas on Facebook, it might be 50 cents to $2, depending on what that offer and creative look like. So because LinkedIn is more expensive than other platforms, what it means is you've got to have a bigger payoff on the back end to see a return on your investment, or to see as large of a return on your investment. So what we've found is, if someone has a lifetime value of their customer over about $15,000, they're going to be successful. Like, it's a total no-brainer. no problem at all. But if it's less than that, if you've got, let's say your SaaS software that you're charging, $30 a month and hoping to keep people around for a year, there's just no way that you're going to see a return on that $6 to $9 per click investment to get to them originally. Mm-hmm. So we tell people when you're approaching LinkedIn, you want to have a high lifetime value. You want to have a customer that is easily targetable by who they are professionally, and then you want to have just a great offer.
Today's growth story is about a computer software and hardware firm with a footprint of over 100,000 employees. This company was struggling to engage with partners across a variety of territories and sales focuses. So with a goal of penetrating white space accounts and growing their premier partner base, this company implemented a solution rooted in data intelligence and channel enablement to engage with over 400 partners. This resulted in 122% partner growth year over year, coupled with an MQL to SQL conversion rate of over 78%. So what was this magical solution that produced such amazing results? MRP Prolitics. MRP Prolitics is an insights-powered account-based marketing platform with streaming predictive analytics baked into its core. Integrating multi-channel ABM execution on these insights, MRP Prolitics triggers display, email, direct mail, and global inside sales in real time, helping the largest marketing departments in the world deliver the right message to their customers at just the right time. So could MRP Prolitics work for you too? There's a real good chance it could. Find out by visiting mrpfd.com or click the link in the episode description of this interview. All right, let's get back to the show.
What about comparing LinkedIn ads to other platforms? Obviously, Facebook ads is the number one that comes to mind. If people, maybe have been seeing success with Facebook ads and they're thinking about toying with LinkedIn ads, and they meet these criteria that you're talking about, AJ, what are some of the things they should be thinking about let's start with the similarities. What's similar to using LinkedIn ads to using another platform like Facebook ads?
So Facebook and LinkedIn are very similar because you're reaching someone on a social media platform with killer targeting. So Facebook, I'm a big Facebook ads fan. I would never tell someone that it was a bad platform, they shouldn't use it. But over the last 8-9 months, they've taken away a lot of our business targeting that's been so helpful. They took away job title targeting. They took away company name targeting. They recently, with all the kerfuffle that was in the news, they got rid of all their third-party data sources. So we used to be able to say, well, hey, if someone is interested in marketing and they own a boat or live in a house that costs more than $500K, maybe they're VP or above. Like those are the kinds of things that you could say. And Facebook has taken all those away. So business targeting on Facebook has become very much like a shotgun approach where, of course, it's cheap, but you have to spread your net really wide and hope that some really attractive people land in that net. Right. Whereas on LinkedIn, it's very much like your sniper rifle. It's, exactly who you're going after. And so you just go after them, and there's not a whole lot of nebulousness to it.
Yeah. So a lot of those things that we were using for business targeting were part of those third-party data sources that Facebook cut ties with.
Exactly. And then they got rid of some of the targeting around the information that they did have about you professionally. And hopefully at some point that comes back. But Facebook has just become very weak for business targeting.
Gotcha. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about some of the differences. If someone's used to using, the Facebook ad platform and now they're moving over to LinkedIn, what are some of the things that are going to be vastly different or different in some way, or maybe that, they're not ready for or not thinking about? What are some of the differences that you maybe help new clients think about as they're getting, exposed to a new ad platform?
One of the first things that you'll notice is LinkedIn is much, much simpler than Facebook. Facebook started out fairly simple, but I kind of refer to it as a Frankenstein platform where they just kept so rapidly coming out with new features, and they would just kept chunking them onto the platform. And now they're trying to figure out a way that makes sense for both young and experienced advertisers to figure the platform out. LinkedIn is very much just simple. Whereas on Facebook, you have campaigns and then ad sets and your ads underneath. On LinkedIn, it's just very simply, you have campaigns and ads inside of them. The targeting is very straightforward. The budgeting is very straightforward. And there's not a whole lot of bells and whistles to worry about.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. What are some other things that you recommend for folks as they're thinking about getting started with LinkedIn ads? If folks out there have not even approached it, they're hearing you say these things about, okay, if I'm thinking about my ACV, I'm thinking about I want to have better business targeting. Maybe this is the direction I should go. What are some of the first things they should do to kind of get their ducks in a row before they sign up and get going?
Well, very much think of your offer. Think of what you can put out there to get people's attention. What we've found is as long as you're solving a major pain point for them professionally or satisfying a major curiosity, one of those two things, it almost doesn't matter what format your offer takes, whether it's a free in-person event, whether it's a 60-minute free webinar, whether it's a 40-page ebook or a one-page checklist. If you're promising to solve one of those pain points for them, doesn't matter how you do it, you're probably going to have good performance. So in your offer, think about what that pain point is that you're trying to solve, and then come out with the best format that helps relay that information.
Yeah. Coming back to where we started the conversation, right? That offer, it's a 3-pointed triangle, but that offer so often seems to be the weakest point, that you need to start there and then work on the other two. Because if that one falls flat, it seems like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. Yeah. And on Facebook, your audience, the A in ammo, can be one of the bigger struggles, just because it's harder to target professionals on Facebook. But on LinkedIn, we generally see that the O is the biggest pain point, the offer. Gotcha.
Well, AJ, this has been great advice for our audience. We're big users of LinkedIn, and we've talked on the show a lot about how to get better organic reach. So I love that you're adding to the conversation on how we can use LinkedIn even more effectively. Completely agree with you in the targeting and things like that. And I appreciate you sharing some of your insights and things that you have helped your customers with, and lessons you guys have been learning in the LinkedIn ad platform. If people listening to this would like to shoot you some follow-up questions or stay connected with you in any way, what's the best way for them to go about doing that, man?
I'll share with you a little secret. If you go to b2linked.com, it's our website, and fill out the contact form, you're not going to go to a sales rep. You're not going to be put into a newsletter marketing automation workflow. You're going to go directly to my inbox, and I refuse to sell. So feel free to ask me anything. Obviously, sales pitches aren't awesome, but ask me anything you want there, and you'll just be getting straight to me. The other thing is I reply pretty frequently on Twitter. So my handle is Wilcox AJ. So if you reach out there, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have about the platform.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that insider tip to get in touch with you, AJ. And thanks again for coming on the show, man.
Hey, thanks, Logan. Sure appreciate you giving me access to your audience. And I hope you all go out and have a ton of success on LinkedIn ads.
Awesome. Thanks, AJ. Becoming a thought leader doesn't just happen. If you want to build a strong personal brand and extend your reach online and offline, you need a plan. Want help developing yours? Check out Impact Summit. This one-day event is bringing together best-selling authors, professional athletes, influential CEOs, and emerging entrepreneurs, all for one purpose: to equip you to lead, influence, and inspire. Whether you're looking to build a lasting legacy with your business or extend the reach of your brand, Impact Summit speakers will share inspiring stories and practical lessons to help you on your way. Did we mention a session on launching and growing a podcast? You guessed it. You'll hear from Sweetfish Media's own James Carberry during that session. You won't want to miss all of these influencers and leaders coming together in Salt Lake City on October 13th. Ready to learn more? Check out influencerinc.co/Impact Summit. B2B Growth listeners can get 15% off the price of their tickets for this event by using the promo code SWEETFISH. SWEETFISH. So use that code, get your tickets today, and get ready to grow your brand and your influence at Impact Summit 2018.